Hello, interwebs, and welcome to Closeup. I'm your host, Joe.
And I'm Justin.
We end off Anime October, our anime experiment where Justin's convinced me to watch 2 animes.
Yes, I did it.
Out of 5 Wednesdays this month, I watched Frieren, watched that a couple episodes ago, and today I watched Spirited Away. Well, I didn't watch it today, I watched it for today. So, the famous Studio Ghibli animated movies, I've heard of these things pretty much all my life, never partook, always interested though. So, I have a bunch on my Netflix list. I was actually gonna watch some of those before Anime October, but now I've been convinced to actually give them a try.
Well, we realized there was a fifth Wednesday in October, and we're like, we need to
find something
idea.
else. How about a Studio Ghibli?
Studio Ghibli. So
Get away from TV, get into
I told
classic
him
movies.
to watch the one that I believed was the most popular.
The one I've heard the most about through word of mouth is, hey, that one's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm going to get ripped apart for this one. Okay, let's get into our close-up. So, Spirited Away. I think it was a visually beautiful story with well-realized characters, but overstays its welcome. In a nutshell. Should I just get through my basic criticism?
Just do it.
Okay. Basically, I think it's too long and it's too slow for my subjective liking. I think it's a very well-made movie, and I'll get into plenty of those details. I got more good things to say than I have bad by a mile. But as I was watching it, I'm just like, this is really long and really slow. Especially the first 15 minutes. The first 15 minutes before they even really, full spoilers for this one, by the way. But I think it was about 15 minutes in where her parents turned into pigs.
Mm-hmm.
And then things started moving forward. And then she ended up getting into the bathhouse and all that. And then it started picking up, but it was still like, oh, things are finally moving. Oh, and then it was basically just...
Middle stuff happens?
Yeah, middle stuff happens. She's just giving baths to creatures and palling around with no face. And I'm like, okay, I have to readjust my expectations. Not that I expected a fast-paced movie or anything, but it just never really picked up. The whole thing was this leisurely adventure, which I wasn't mentally prepared for when I watched it. And then it was 2 hours long, which I'm used to most animated movies being an hour and a half max. So the fact that it was over 2 hours and slow paced right from the very beginning just kind of set me up for a subpar viewing experience. Despite the actual content being very good, to be clear, I have mostly good things to say. But
I think those are fair criticisms.
But as a subjective piece of art, I was not riveted. I wasn't super emotionally invested in the characters either, despite enjoying it. What I will say is, I also feel like I'm watching this at the wrong time in my life. If you showed this movie to me when I was 7 years old, it would probably be an all-time favorite. I would probably be raving about it today and try to convince everybody to watch it. If I had a child of my own or was watching it with a kid and kind of seeing it through their eyes, I'd probably also have thoroughly enjoyed this movie. But as a single guy who's 27 years old, not really into anime before this, has no preconceived notions, just going into this based on word of mouth as a kid's movie and just watching this, I'm like, yeah, it's good, but kind of overrated. It's not what I was raved to about.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think it would be if I watched it at the right age. You know what I mean?
True.
So it's kind of weird that way, where it's in that very, very rare subsection of movies where I can barely complain about the technical merit despite subjectively not loving it. There's a lot of, it's like the opposite of a guilty pleasure. where you're like, yeah, this thing is heavily flawed, but I love it anyway. I'm like, yeah, this thing is good, but I didn't like it as much as I quote unquote should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when I first watched it was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. So I was in an adult phase too, but I was sort of in a phase where I was trying to catch up on things that I missed as a child because a lot of things weren't accessible to me, especially anime. Anime was kind of frowned upon when we were kids, and
there was only a couple anime things that were really cross-cultural.
yeah, they didn't break mainstream here, and anime was weird.
I think of something like Avatar: The Last Airbender, where I'm like, that's one of the most popular animes, and it was made by white people.
It's not an anime. It doesn't count.
Yeah, I'm like, it's anime adjacent, and it was made by white people, and it's inspired by anime, and that's like what people we grew up with and around kind of considered as their gateway in anime.
Mm-hmm.
Or like Pokemon is probably like the only actual Japanese show that had any big cultural impact here.
Yeah.
When we were kids anyway, in the early 2000s. So like and I also remember, I think I may have seen ads for Spirited Away on like old Pokemon VHS I had as a kid. That may be my first exposure to it, because I'm just unlocking this memory in my mind right now where like I got these old Pokemon VHSs from like Goodwill or something, like one of those thrift stores. And there used to be other animated movie previews in front of those when I watched those, and Spirited Away may have been one of them. I'm just remembering this now. So that's probably where I've seen it.
Probably.
This movie's like probably been living in the back of my head for the last 20 years because of that. So yeah, that's like where else would I have seen anime previews like that? Oh, it was on those on those VHSs. That's where.
Mm-hmm.
So Pokemon was my gateway, and then that was showing me other stuff. I'm curious to rewatch those now and see what other ads were on those.
Maybe you'll find something else to watch for next year's Anime October that I've never even heard of.
Yeah, maybe.
You're like, this is a long forgotten anime only found on a VHS.
Because like those VHSs were made in the late 90s, early 2000s that I own there. And like it was like season 1 of Pokemon on VHS. Woo. I'm talking like OG Pokemon. So it might have been circa this movie. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, what are your initial thoughts? I've been rambling for a while.
On Spirited Away.
You were saying you watched it when you were trying to catch back up on.
I really liked it. The animation style was completely new to me. I think this was the first Ghibli movie I'd ever watched, so it was gorgeous. It kind of had me, just staring at the TV the whole time because I was like, wow, this is beautiful. And some of it was a bit of a culture shock as well, where it's like, okay, because it does have a style. It is styled like Japan, and I didn't have a lot of experience with that at the time, and so I found it to be really interesting. I do understand where you're coming from, saying it's a bit slow. And I think I was prepared. I came in with like zero expectations, so I do remember getting up to get snacks.
And thinking, this is still going.
It ended up being a snack movie, but I did really, really enjoy it at the same time.
Yeah, I think it was I love the world, the designs, and the different monsters and creature designs were really cool. No Phase is intriguing as both the most terrifying monster in the movie, but also the most relatable one. Mm-hmm. In a way, I really like the aesthetics. You and I were talking the other day about how just looking at the first 15 minutes of the movie, I could timestamp this thing as late 90s, just based on the way the characters were dressed and the vehicle Chihiro's dad drove. I could just tell, I'm like, oh yeah, that's That's a late 90s movie.
At least,
It
yeah.
was set in the late 90s anyway.
Or, yeah, the setting, yeah.
Like, and it was probably made around then. So I'm like, it captured its era pretty well in the visuals. And then actually getting into the fantastic stuff, it has a good sense of wonder when it wants to, like when she's riding Haku the dragon through the air and, oh, you're my spirit guardian, and like kind of getting those catharsis, really uplifting moments like that.
Well, I think that's one of the interesting things with it is that, like, especially like you were talking about No Face, the movie's really good at using the same elements to push different emotions. I find so No Face. If No Face, if you want him to be scary, he's scary. If you want him to be friendly, he's friendly. Just the way the movie uses its assets to push certain emotions, to make, at the beginning, it makes the town feel very, I think it's
Eerie.
Yeah, it's creepy at first and it's eerie, but then later on, you know, it's not, and they want you to feel that way.
Even though it's inhabited by ghosts.
Yeah. Even though it's inhabited by ghosts, that, you know, later in you feel that it's not quite the same because she's used to it too. So they use the same elements to push different emotions through. Even like Haku is mysterious at first, then he's fun. He's also can be scary and dangerous too.
Well, he was a real jerk when they first met. Chihiro was just standing on the bridge and then he comes up yelling at her and telling her to get the hell away.
Yeah.
And then later he's nice. And I remember one point she even asked somebody, are there 2 different Hakus or something? And Lynn's just like, no, there's only one. And she's trying to reconcile, why does he act so different at different times? He has a front in front of his bosses as the tough enforcer dude, and then with her he's sensitive and compassionate, empathetic.
Yeah, and I think that's a real benefit to it, that they find a way to use that animation to push what they want you to feel at the time.
Yes.
Which I think is pretty interesting.
Just some contrasts in my mind. Like, I think of the little cute animals, right? Like in some scenes you have, the cute frog, or like when the baby turns into the hamster and the I'm like, those are adorable. Or like, and the little bird as well who carries him around. Those things are adorable. And then you have entire sequences like No Face rampaging through the bathhouse and eating people with like the teeth in his chest, and he's giant, gluttonous, black void of a monster consuming everything in his path, chasing this little girl through the bathhouse, destroying things. And that scene was horrific. And it's very good. Or when Haku was getting brutally attacked by the paper angels. I'm like, oh, this is pretty violent.
Well, I think at first she thinks the paper angels are cool, right?
Well, she just sees these things chasing this dragon around and it looks threatening. And then Haku comes crashing through the window and he's bleeding out with all these paper cuts. And that's when they're, oh, okay, yeah, these are very dangerous. They're killing him. And then he escapes and has to, Yubaba's just gonna kick him down a shaft and sacrifice him. Like, oh, this movie got dark. Okay. Cool. I appreciate it. Personally, I think this movie is pretty dark thematically as well. I took it, there is a component of, all right, let me just break down the plot as I see it. A young girl's gluttonous parents get themselves into trouble for their vice, leaving the girl to beg for work in a sweatshop and labor away while she's forced to confront people's greed. She then escapes to a country setting where she's gifted a respite, makes amends for her boss's thievery, and finds escape through love.
Oh my.
That's what,
when you put it that way.
That's the movie
it's
I
pretty
saw.
Dark.
Yeah. To me, the entire thing is a criticism of capitalistic greed in a way. Like Yubaba is very money hungry and treats her workers like garbage. She's basically running a terrible environment. The bosses treat their workers terrible. Hey, can I get the only way we can clean this bath is with the special herbalism water. Give me the token. No. I'm not helping you out, but that's what I need to do my job. No. Gives no tools, steals her name and her identity, puts her in the laborer's clothes, makes her sleep with all the other women and live on site in the shop. You're basically trapped here, you're my prisoner, or I'll turn you into a pig and eat you otherwise. Everybody's so enticed by gold when No Face comes in there and he's throwing gold around. Everybody's going crazy. Everybody wants the gold except for Chihiro. She doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
She's driven more by altruistic needs like helping Haku. And like her boss is an organized criminal who steals like magic seals from her own sister and uses her dragon enforcer, who she put a bug into to control. Like, this movie's very dark under the surface. It's got a lot of scathing societal commentary. I'm like, this is what getting into the workforce is like. This is what you, child, can expect when you start working.
It's your intro to what working is like. Oh, no.
When your parents are dealing with their own issues and you're forced into your own self-sufficiency, this is what you might end up getting exploited by. People like this exist, systems like this exist, and this might be you, stripped of your identity and forced into menial labor in a bad environment.
But I like this era of children's movies. They learned actual lessons.
It is still a positive message in the end, because even in this dark environment, she does end up, getting through the day-to-day thanks to the compassion of her co-workers. Lin helps her out. The guy with the arms in the basement, he helps her out too. He likes her. Haku helps her out. It's like in this environment where the whole system is rigged against you, it's your co-workers and the people who care about you who manage to make it bearable.
Mm-hmm.
And help you through the little step by step. Okay, well, we'll get you a costume that fits and we'll, support you, get your food, whatever. Like, we can give you the train tickets. She's put into a bad system beyond her control and she's very terrified of it. But it's the people she's also forced to be around that end up making it or breaking it. She just happened to have good companions to help her ride out that journey.
Mm-hmm.
And because she cared about them in return, that's what ended up saving her.
True.
She helped Haku, and his power was the freeing force. He let her out and helped her stand up to Yubaba, and No Face accompanied her. I also like how Chihiro went from a scared girl who cries a lot and is very scared to somebody who's a little bit more hardened and brave and makes active decisions.
Mm.
Like at the beginning, she was cowering away and like she couldn't even handle that really steep staircase to get down to the boiler room.
Yeah, that's right.
She was handling it one step at a time, and it was terrifying. And then by the end, this same girl, to save Haku, runs across that pipe in between the buildings as the pipe is falling down, and I'm like, okay, you got brave.
Mm.
You're riding on a dragon, and before that, even just holding your breath on a bridge was nearly going to give you a panic attack. She's seen some stuff. She grew. She learned. She became more self-sufficient.
I seem to remember her being extremely determined when she's like, yep, we're getting on the train. We're going.
Yep.
If I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, she was, it's because she needed to, I'm having trouble remembering now. She needed to get that seal away to save Haku somehow.
Yeah, she had to go to the other witch.
Yeah,
For some
Yubaba's
reason.
sister.
Mm-hmm. But I just remember, like, she's not very decisive. She's kind of wandering. She's lost at the beginning. And at the end, it's kind of like maybe the train being a straight line is a kind of a metaphor there, being like, yes, she's determined, she's on a straight course. She knows where she's going.
Always forward, never back.
Even when the train's like, oh, this is as far as we can go, she's like, okay. She gets off and just starts walking, right?
Yep.
She's like, okay, fine.
And then the Pixar lamp guides her. I don't know whether Pixar or that lamp came first. It even kind of made the same sound effect when it was bouncing around.
I don't remember this exactly, but
I think the Pixar lamp may have been first, actually.
probably.
Like, it was bouncing around on its hand. Like, it was like a lantern with a hand on the bottom. And it bounced along the pathway.
Oh, that's right.
And it sounded so much like the Pixar lamp. And it looked like if you went to Japan and were like, hey, do a Studio Ghibli version of the Pixar lamp. That's what I would come up with.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, yeah, color. I really liked there was great color contrast that always drew your focus to the right places. It's very vibrant looking movie. I don't have any solidified color theories yet, but I did see a lot of greens, a lot of blues, a lot of reds. And I feel like blue may represent some level of freedom. It's the beautiful blues that people are always staring at off in the distance. It's the sky, it's the ocean with the train on it that everybody wants to get to. Everyone wants to get out to that horizon. Somebody like Yubaba is also dressed in a blue dress, and she's the top dog. She's in power. She's more free than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like blue represents freedom or opportunity of some kind.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm not 100%. I feel like red might be the opposite, because all the servants are dressed in red. The bathhouse is red as well. Red designs. I have a little bit less confidence in that one, but I feel like red is more about the servitude and oppression in a way. And I don't know what green represents right now, but I see a lot of green in there as an accent. Chihiro's costume is green. Haku is got a green mane as well. There's the fields that are before they even get to the main town. They're all green when you get out of that train station tunnel. Mm-hmm. It accents a lot of things. So I feel like green is also important somehow.
Yeah. Could be like desires or
maybe, or just like a grounding. Like that's what's important.
Could be. It has something to do with need or want or something. It's on that track somewhere.
Like her clothes were also important because that's what tied her to her identity. She couldn't leave without them. Haku was the person who tried to help her, and they had a connection, and he is green as well. And like the fields on the outskirts, like I said, they were green as well. So I'm like, and it like accents things like, so it's something. It's something to do with the connections and the earthly grounding.
Well, and the green is what initially pushes her parents to go through in the first place too, because they're on like the wooded trail or whatever, and it's dark, I think. And then there's
well, it's not dark,
but it's dark because they're on this wooded trail.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of green.
They went off onto the wrong road.
Yeah, and then there's this beautiful green meadow on the other side that calls to them.
Yeah, let's see, another criticism. That magic headband never came into play. Yubaba's sister gives her a magic headband of, or hair tie of protection,
Oh, yeah.
which he just sort of wears. And the only time I ever noticed it again before the end of the movie was, I think it may have been the very last shot of the movie, was when she takes one look back out the tunnel and you can see the hair tie on her.
Mm.
And to me, all that said was, okay, it's not just a dream. It's clearly the headband she was given in that realm.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe an implication that her protection carries over into the main world. Otherwise, it didn't have any blatant plot-related implications, which was a little strange.
Okay. What did you think as it being your first Studio Ghibli movie? What does this kind of set going forward for your expectations for other Studio Ghibli movies?
I think I can expect beautiful animation and art style, a great depiction of fantastical worlds, which I can find some meaning in, some deeper than expected themes for kids' entertainment, quote unquote. Perhaps pacing issues as in other ones. I don't know if they're all.
I do think most of them are paced pretty similarly. Maybe this one's a touch slower.
That kind of.
Some of the other, like Totoro's pretty slow too.
Which I might have a different feeling about if I go into it with that mindset. Okay, I gotta. This is what I expect going in. So, I might not have a problem with it if I'm anticipating a little, So that might make a difference. And yeah, it might have just been this story I didn't subjectively connect with, but maybe a different one will hit me better. Just, it's art. Some things hit me, other things don't. But
well, and you're not necessarily the target audience.
That doesn't help. That doesn't help either.
Like, we kind of chose this on the fly. But if I really thought about it and was like, okay, which one would you really enjoy? I probably wouldn't have picked this one because I don't think it has a heck of a lot for adult audiences.
Yeah, what's a guy in his mid-20s getting out of this besides a bit of film history?
Hmm.
Just to say, I've seen this movie, people say is important.
Yeah.
I can't say, unlike a lot of other movies I see, I don't know for a fact if it pushed the medium of animation forward, although it did include a lot of 3D animated shots, which I'm sure were new for the time.
Yes, it is
Blending
in that
in.
era where they were blending the 3D CGI with the hand-drawn animation, which was
Interesting.
yeah.
It made...
That was a pretty new technique there. I don't think it was super new for that one. I think it was new for Ghibli.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a technique that had been done several times before. But
yeah,
it was still relatively new and fresh for people.
They used it sparingly, but there were a couple of standout shots of, oh, that's different. And I'm sure they wanted it to stand out, hence doing it in a style that would be eye-catching.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that was innovative for its time. Otherwise, it's just... It's a good story and very well told, and yeah, so that's about what I can expect going forward. They have a good reputation.
You know what's funny is they still use that technique in modern anime. The 3D CGI with, I mean, it's not hand drawn anymore, but it's digitally drawn.
Yeah.
They still use that technique in practically everything, so it's something that died in like Hollywood animation because they just went all CGI.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still, for anime, it's pretty typical, actually. It's...
Well, I definitely miss a 2D style like this in kids' movies.
Mm-hmm.
For what it's worth, I think it's far and away better than what I see from kids' movies now. I don't
substance.
I also don't like the visual style of movies now. I think Pixar very much oversaturated a certain 3D animation style in the
Bean mouth.
Yes, I have heard that term, and I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't care for that. Like, it's okay.
It looks lazy to me.
It's okay sparingly, but the fact that it's been the de facto kids animation style for the last 20 years is what grates on me.
Yeah.
So seeing something like this, it feels kind of refreshing, where I'm like, oh, this is just a movie in a different style that also happens to look gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it's not like reinventing the wheel like it's Spider-Verse or something, but it's, you can't go wrong with a traditionally animated movie at like near the height of its studio's power. And
yeah, I think I'd be interested to hear what you'd think of something like Grave of the Fireflies.
mm-hmm.
It is made for kids, but I do think it has a lot for adults as well.
Might get more
It
out
is
of it.
actually a pretty adult story, to the point where even IMDb has it listed as an adult movie, despite it being rated PG.
Mm-hmm.
And being made for kids at the time. I would like to see what you think of that one. And I'd be curious to see what you think of there's a specific director who has made several modern films that are heavily, heavily inspired by Ghibli. So I'd be curious to see what you'd think of something like, which one? Your Name is pretty good. I think that one would be interesting to see what you think of that one.
All right.
But definitely, I would like to see, when we do our follow-up, maybe you'll have seen something else.
Sure.
I think definitely give Grave of the Fireflies a try.
Most definitely. You speak about it very highly. So, any final thoughts?
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good.
It's my final rating is, like, despite all the, beating around the bush and whatnot, I do think it's pretty darn good. It still gives a great rating. It's just...
It's not my favorite Studio Ghibli movie, but it's a lot of people's favorite.
What is your favorite one then, just for record purposes?
Is
it Fireflies or?
Well, Grave of the Fireflies is technically probably one of the best ones. It's very, very well done, but it's not a fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't call it my favorite. I would say I like Ponyo. Ponyo's, even though that one's more modern, but I still like it. I don't know why. I just like it.
Okay. So, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at...
Actually, sorry. Before you finish that, you didn't give your actual ranking, though.
Oh, do I need to give a ranking? Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I actually really like Spirited Away. Okay. But you gotta be in the right mood for it. And you gotta, I've actually seen it several times, so...
I feel like I'd like it better on rewatch for what it's worth.
Probably.
So, repeat yourself. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at jchurchtpm.
And you can find me on Instagram at ThoughtPlaneMedia. And check out thoughtplane.ca for everything else we do. There's hundreds of posts there for free. And you can donate $1 or $2 there if you like our work and you're feeling generous. We hope to see you on the next close-up for No Anime November. Till next time.
Take care. No Anime November, why? Wait, is this a rule I gotta follow? I can't watch any anime?
You can watch it, we're just not talking about it.
That would be horrible.